What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. This is the Texans Better, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more daily Texans content. What a first and second round of this NFL draft it has been. Let's recap. Let's calm down a little bit. Let's start talking about these first four picks that the Houston Texans have made in the second and third rounds. Remember, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe for more daily Texans content. So were these good picks? Let's start with in order. Let's start with Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins getting selected 34th overall by the Houston Texans. Important to remember that the Houston Texans picked at 25 to start the draft. Ultimately, they didn't like the value there, so what do? They trade back to 34, they give up 25, and they also receive pick 99, which will come back in a second. Jaden Higgins is a really good receiver. Jaden Higgins was the chef's kiss of this selection process by the Texans team. Look, what's there to like about Jaden Higgins? He's 6'4", 214 pounds, runs a 4.47 40, which is insane. This is a guy whose comp is Nico Collins, who, by the way, is already on the Texans team. I'll take two Nico Collins any day. I think Jaden Higgins can learn a lot from Nico Collins. But let's get into Jaden Higgins' scouting report. I've already talked about a little bit about his measurements. Obviously, with that size, he's going to have a huge frame and a big catch radius. Formidable target, especially in contested catch situations. And he's got a huge catch radius with 33.25-inch arms. Love to see that. Also has really reliable hands. He only has 4 drops on 210 career targets. 4 drops on 210 career targets. That's a drop rate of 1.4%. That was the best drop rate in the class. Better than Travis Hunter, better than Emeka Ibuka, better than Matthew Golden, better than Ted McMillan. Drops are not an issue with this guy. He also is a great route runner. What I love about Jaden Higgins and why he went so early in the draft is because you're getting a big-sized receiver who is technically polished. Jaden Higgins is more technically polished than Nico Collins was in college. That's just a fact. He is a technical route runner. He is quick, 40-inch vertical, really high IQ. He just knows how to get open. He knows how to attack coverages. Jaden Higgins, again, the French kiss. Chef's kiss, the chef's kiss of this draft. 6'4", 214 pounds, a great addition to this receiver room. Now let's continue to talk about selections. Next up is Ersery from the Gophers. Look, you were at 58. You had just acquired 99, so you trade 58 and 99 to move up to 48. So Ersery, the next player on that the Texans selected, 6'6", 331 pounds, ran a 5.01 40, which you can't really talk. But 3-year starter at left tackle. Very big human, obviously. You can see the measurements. Really good in pass protection, only allowing 1 sack in his senior year. Really good anchor. And when you put all these traits together, I really think Ersery can be a tackle in the NFL. I don't always say that. That's not something I say. For example, Savaiena, who went early, I don't think he can play tackle. I think he has to play guard. But what's a little interesting is in the press conference, Nick Caserio said, we don't really know who our best 5 linemen are. We are going to figure that out right now. So maybe Ersery plays tackle instead of Blake Fisher. I doubt he beats out Cam Robinson, but maybe he beats out Blake Fisher and plays. Maybe they move him to guard and he plays guard. Look, whatever they plan on doing, Ersery, he can be a tackle in the future. He can move to guard. I would rather see him at tackle, but regardless, you needed an offensive lineman. At 48, he was the best possible tackle available. You also saw other tackles go shortly after, before 58, so it was a great move up to get your guy. I really like Ersery. Areas for improvement from Ersery would be lateral agility and his ability to recover. And I guess 2 knocks on Higgins, I'll say, while we were talking about him, is just being more physical. I want to see Higgins be more physical. But Ersery was one of my favorite tackles in this draft. I really liked him, and I really think the Texans got good value for him at 48. I think it was a very good selection. Moving on to another Iowa State receiver who the Texans stuck and picked at 79. That is Jalen Noel. That's pronounced Noel, not Noel. 5'11", 194 pounds. What's perplexing about Jalen in a good way is he's 5'11", 194 pounds. He had the most bench press reps at the combine out of any receiver. I think it was like 22 or 23. So 80 catches, 1,194 yards, similar stat line to Jaden Higgins of 4.39 40. He's got wheels. He can move. Jalen Noel is going to be your primary slot guy. He's going to learn a lot from Christian Kirk. Now, one thing I will say about this at this point in the video is Tank Dell's future probably doesn't bode well. Jalen Noel does seem to be like your Tank Dell replacement, and you've got Jaden Higgins, who's another long-term receiver. So the Texans probably do not like what they're seeing from Tank Dell. And let's just be honest, he blew out his knee. Like, it is a very serious injury. I still think Tank can recover, but Tank is probably not playing this year, and who knows what we'll get from Tank Dell next year. So a little more of a somber note there. But again, that's got to be the reality, because you went up and you got two receivers in the first 2 rounds. So I really like Jalen Noel. Not as good as Jaden Higgins, but he plays a different role. Slot receiver, really good value pick. And look, for the Texans to take 2 receivers, they had to have really liked the value that they got with Jalen Noel at 79. So great receiver from the same university. And finally, maybe the most perplexing pick of the draft so far, that's Jalen Smith at 79. The Texans trade up from around like 102, I want to say, and go get Jalen Smith at 79. Or that shouldn't say 79. They went up and got Jalen Smith. I'm not 100% on what his round, it was 97. So excuse me for that. 97 on Jalen Smith. 5'11", 187 pounds. A lighter player, 2 interceptions, 59 tackles. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. The consensus from the draft people was that this was a 6th or 7th round pick that the Texans ultimately chose in the 3rd round. So more perplexing. At this point, I'm not going to hate on the pick because I trust DeMeco Ryans' defense. Look at Kalen Bullock. Look at Kamari Lassiter. Kalen Bullock was actually with Jalen Smith when he got selected to the Texans, which is a great story. That's already good team chemistry. He's from USC. They were both really good teammates at USC. So Jalen Smith, really, really good rotational depth cornerback who maybe can slide in and be a backup nickel, add some competition to that room. Was he the most popular name on the board? No. Does it feel like a reach? Yes. But if you're going to reach, I guess corner, it's fine. You always need depth and youth at the cornerback position with the receivers we have in the league these days. So that's kind of my recap on the first 4 picks of the NFL draft. How do you think the Texans did? Do you like what you saw from them? And do you think they'll continue to move up and make trades moving on in the draft? So that's all I got for this video, guys. Stay tuned for more Texans content, and I will see you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.